Good morning, Tim. This is blog number 16 for Practicum. This week, we are being asked to reflect on our first semester of teaching, our e-portfolio progress, and our PD involvement in our first semester. As far as my e-portfolio goes, I still have not done a lot with that. Again, I need to add some artifacts to that and maybe a letter of reference or recommendation. Otherwise, I've been taking some photos as I go and hoping to upload some of those during the Christmas break. Our first semester of teaching. Well, it's been pretty well documented by this point in time that it hasn't went as well as I thought it would during my first semester. I do regret jumping on the LTO and walking away from STA because there were a lot of fantastic learning opportunities available to me with my three mentors. I have been left on my own here at SAB, and while I find it to be very beneficial towards my development, managing my own classroom, having to rely on my own instincts and draw from my own personal experiences, I do miss leaning on my associate teachers from time to time. I still keep in contact with Joe DeTrolio. We talk a few times a week. So I still get that aspect of it from him, and he's been wonderful to bounce things off of. But in terms of my own classroom and the struggles that I've shared with you, it's going to be a part of my career from time to time. And I'm still excited that I took this LTO in that sense to experience this side of it. I know that I've just been a warm body here, but the fact that I've been able to be successful and make it through and encourage some students to engage in their own learning, above all else, that still counts. So I'm pretty happy with that. And while it has come with its own downfalls, you know what? I didn't bite off more than I can chew. I'm successfully managing this. There's just some behaviors that I can't fix. So I've started to stop worrying about that and not take it personally and do what I can do. And that is to be excited about the trades, to show those pathways and opportunities, to help inspire students' learning, to help them engage in their own development. I've asked them to critically think from time to time, and that has sparked some kind of movement in them to take this class a little bit more seriously. They're going to get out what they put into that. And I've stressed that from the start. No matter what I say, if they're not engaged in their own learning, they're going to get nowhere. So once I came to terms with that, and once they bought into that idea, it went great. The cell phone ban has been great. The kids do respect me to a certain degree. As soon as I turn my back, then it's chaos. But I mean, as a whole, they do respect. There's some teachers that they try to put a cell phone ban, and students will not listen. It is unsuccessful. So the fact that I can manage that, I consider that a win. And professional development, it's been scattered. At STA, we had a few days there, and it was a lot of team building exercises. And I've only been to one professional development day here while at SAB, and that was that big joint PD day with all the Catholic schools in one location. And I spent that day with the tech department. I made some new connections, and I did actually have one of those transportation technologies teachers come into my classroom and help me for a day. But it was nice to catch up with some teachers that I did know from the area and share some of my experiences and get some words of wisdom from them. So I did really enjoy that. I find PD days to be kind of, I don't want to say a waste of time, but there's a lot of rhetoric there that's passed through those PD days that I simply have no use for. And maybe I'll come to appreciate that as I become more mature as a teacher. But I find a lot of these PD days to be time wasters when I could be doing something much more productive, working in my shop during a PD day, cleaning things up, organizing, planning, things like that. I find that there's just a lot of mandate in PD days where there's checking boxes, and it's lacking sincerity when when it's presented in that kind of manner, I suppose. Again, I want to reiterate that I've shared my struggles endlessly with you at this point in time, but I don't regret this. I regret not being at STA, but I do not regret this. This is something that I need. I need to know that I could be thrown into the pits of hell, fire and brimstone, and make it through. There was 4 other teachers prior to me that quit within 6 weeks. And You know what? It's probably because they're seasoned teachers and they just will not put up with it. And because I'm a new teacher eager to make my name, stubbornness, I'll call it, I guess. But I'm used to this. I'm used to working in the trades and dealing with difficult people from all sides. So dealing with a classroom environment that is difficult is nothing new to me. As a tradesperson, I encountered this kind of interaction with people on a day-to-day basis. So as I find it very frustrating trying to be successful as an educator and reach students, there is only so much I can do, and I have to take a lot of it with a grain of salt. As discussed, I will not be accepting a second LTO here, at least not in transportation. If something else comes my way at this school, I would definitely consider it. But I'm out of my league here with transportation. I'm very limited in what I can do, and that's not fair. Like I said, it's not about the money at this point. It's just unfair to myself and to the students' education. So, one thing I'd like to show off to you this week is I started building a rocket stove. I don't know if you're familiar with rocket stoves, but I wanted to convey to students some of the things that you can do. The artistic creativity doesn't matter what trade that you're doing, and I wanted to show them this through this little project that I was doing on the side after school in the evenings. And this is a rocket stove. Took me a few hours to put together, cut the materials, and tack it all up. It's not welded yet, but if you're unfamiliar with the rocket stove, this is where you feed the wood into the stove itself. Down here is the damper, air control, whatever you want to call it, the baffle. Up here is where you set your pot or whatever you're trying to cook. And back here, I've installed a clean out to collect all the ash and everything else. And this here, like I said, took me a couple hours, uh, but there's probably about 40 different little pieces here that I had to fabricate. And then I've had to make some adjustments on the fly. But I wanted to make this so I could demonstrate to my class how these skills, whether it's a welding, whether it's in transportation, whether it's in construction, uh, design, all these skills are very much associated with each other and they're very transferable. And once you understand the concepts of, say, a construction skill or a manufacturing skill, then you can apply it into another sector like the transportation sector. And they really found this to be quite interesting. I don't have enough material for students to make these, but I am going to develop a culminating project at the end of the semester where they have to design, fabricate using various methods, build some kind of structure. Just like in transportation, you would have to cut apart an auto body frame if you were making a custom vehicle, a custom hot rod. So I want them to use their own creativity to come up with something so then they can further implement that design, design technology in the future while they're pursuing another transportation class potentially down the line. Or if they decide to take a construction class, at least they have that design and fabrication mindset available to them. So that's my little show off project for the week. I I'm quite enjoying how this is coming along. I can't wait to use it, and I'm looking forward to the Christmas break, Tim. It's been a lot. So I have this is Wednesday today, so I have about seven more teaching days after today, and then I get a bit of a break, a breather, a reset, and then come in January with a full head of steam for that final 3 weeks, and hopefully I leave a lasting impact on these students, whether I'm here next semester or not. That's been my goal from the start, is that they can take away at least one thing from my class, whether it's confidence in themselves, whether it's knowledge about the skilled trades, whether it's learning a little bit more about automotive than they previously knew. Trying my damnedest, Tim, and I'm not going to walk away from this experience with any regrets. Learning experiences for sure, but no regrets. So, until next blog, Tim, this has been a pleasure showing you off this and covering this material. I cannot wait to see you in blog 17. Bye for now.